Hello everyone, I'm Marieanne, the Artsie Crafter. Welcome to my channel. Please forgive me for my inky, sparkly fingers, but I've been doing some crafting this morning. Before I get into that, I want to apologize for not bringing out a video last week, but some of you might know if you've seen some of my previous recent videos that my husband and I are going to be putting our house on the market in the new year, and we have a few, or more than a lot of projects that have to get completed around the house and the gardens. So it's been taking up all my time and all my crafting time, which I have been very upset about. So this week I've decided to take the week off from doing the projects around the house or the garden and concentrate on doing some crafting. After all, it's the beginning of the Christmas season, so I need to get some Christmas crafts done. And with that in mind, I have been working on one Christmas project that I had hoped to get finished and show you today, but it's not quite finished. And if you have usually this time of year, I'm busy extending my Christmas village. If you'd seen my very first video, you would have seen some of the projects that I'd done in the past, and one of them was my Christmas village. And I was hoping to extend that again this year. I've only had it for the last 2 years during the COVID lockdown. And then last year I expanded it a little bit, and then I was going to do that again this year. But because we're selling the house, I can't work on that or set it up this year. So that's why I've started this other little project instead. So that I'll be releasing that very soon. So I have to say that I can't believe it's been a year since, or I've been on YouTube a year now. So I started last December, or I think it was beginning of December or ended November, somewhere thereabouts. And so it's been a wonderful experience and a wonderful journey, and I hope to continue for many more years. So without further ado, I think it's time to get on with today's project. I don't know if you're anything like me as a crafter, but when you get the inspiration to do a project, you want all your supplies and tools here on hand right away. But sometimes, especially with stencils and stamps, which is what we're going to be doing today, the stamps, showing you how to do stamps, I don't have time, or I'm too impatient to go and buy stamps online and wait for them to arrive, because by the time they arrive I'm usually passed on from that inspiration and on to the next thing. So yes, I don't have as many stamps or stencils that probably a lot of other crafters have. So what I've had to do is make my own, and I have shown you a video before where I showed you how to make some stencils, or how I made some stencils. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave that in the link to that video in the description below. You can go check that one out. But today I'm going to show you how I made some fairly simple stencils with a few different supplies that I've had around the house. I didn't have to go and buy anything in particular. And one of the things I've used is some foam board. I couldn't get a thicker one than this one. It's fairly thin. It doesn't say how thin it is, but so it's a little bit too thin for my liking, so I ended up cutting it off and doubling it over and gluing it down. And the only thing I could find to stick it down with was my glue gun, so I had to coat the completely behind with the glue gun, because you're going to be cutting out a stencil. You need the entire sheet glued down, so there's no gaps in the glue when you cut out your stamp, I should say. So that's what I did. I used a glue gun, and to give me the thickness that I wanted in the sheet. That was one thing that I used. Another thing that I used is a placemat. one of these plastic placements. This is just one of those kids ones. It's glossy on the one side and it's got the foam on the other side, and you can see it's textured foam, so I use that to make stencils. And then the third thing I used is, this is one of those kitchen rolls. You know, if you have aluminium foil or cling wrap or paper towel, anything like that, you get this really nice hard cylinder to use. So they're the three things that I'm using today to make some stamps. And I apologize if I say stencils. We're making stamps today. So to start with, I will show you the simplest one. And so I've got this cylinder, and then I couldn't find some thick string. You could use anything, twine, string, whatever you can find. This, I think, is I don't know whether it's string or thick, could be macrame cotton, or what's the other thing you do? Crochet cotton. I don't know what it is, but it's thick. So what I did is cut off some of this, and I dipped it in some PVA glue, and I used my tacky glue here because it sticks faster. I didn't want to wait around for the PVA glue to dry, so I find that works faster. Anyway, all I did was I cut off a length, immersed it in glue, and then I just wrapped it around the cylinder, and this is what I came out with. And you'll see that I've actually used some. And then you just leave it to dry, and then it's ready to use. So that's one, but I'll show you in a minute what I did with that, how that turns out when you add ink to it. Put that one away. And then also made another stamp. This time I used some black crochet cotton, and then I also cut out some of this foam mat and cut some circles out, and I glued it onto the cylinder. And so that's another idea for making a stamp on a cylinder, and you can put all kinds of shapes on here. So I'll show you what I did with that later on. So the next one I will show you is what I did with the foam mat. The stamps I made this time with the foam, these types of stamps, and I had a lot of fun making these. And I found the foam mat was very smooth and gave a nice finish, and was very easy to cut out. And you can see here that I've already started using some of these to create these. As I said, I doubled them over. This one here, I just cut it out and put it on afterwards, glued it on to the backing afterwards. And then to cut these holes out, all I did was use, well, I put it away, I shouldn't have, is my glue, is my craft knife. And I just went ahead and I cut the slits out of the areas where I wanted to cut out, making sure I didn't cut through my design. And then it was just a simple process. There's no carving involved. You don't need any carving knives or any how to use carving tools or anything. I just used my craft scissors, and I went in where the slits are, and I just started cutting out the foam. It's very easy to cut out, and it doesn't take very long to do. So I just go around my design, and when I drew out my design, I used an ink pen to draw around the design to get the thickness. I just use one of these felt pens. They come in all sorts of thicknesses. I used a fairly thick one. This one here is like a paintbrush end on it, and I used that to give me the thickness of the design I wanted to create, so that I knew where to cut. And so that's what I did with that. So I cut all that out and just finished cutting this one out here to show you. And then to tidy it up, I just went behind and I just cut off the bits that I didn't want. It doesn't matter the behind part, because it's only the front top part that's going to get stamped. or get inked, I should say. So that's how I did those and all these designs. This one here, I actually cut. If you don't want to make your own designs, you can go out and get some real leaves or other items that you can use as a template, and I just put them down and I drew around them like that, and I changed the shape up a little bit. Then I cut out some circles and I glued it on, and I glued the circles on separately onto a backing, which is just some cardboard, uh, some thick cardboard. You can see the thickness there, and that's packaging cardboard I used. And then I just covered it in some masking tape, just to preserve, uh, just to make it sturdy in the background. You can wipe off all the ink and whatnot, and it just gives you a surface to stamp on, and it's permanent. You don't need one of those glass stamp backing things. Yeah, I can't remember what you call them. Otherwise, you can just use that, and I can, if you don't want to put a backing on it, I just ink that up. You just rub your ink over, and then when I press it down, here's one I've done before with these two. So I did this one here with that one, and then on the other side is this one here. Just gives you an idea of how it turns out. And this one, I will just show you. Turn this over and get some ink, and I used black before, but I'll show you the brown this time. And just make sure you rub it on all over. Get a nice application. I find that the more you use these, the foam mat, the more you put the ink on, the more that it will hold the ink. And then I put that down, and then I put some cardboard over the top, and I press down and I wait a while to allow that ink to transfer to the page. And I don't know if I've got enough ink. All my inks are drying out, so there we go. You can see it did a good job of transferring that ink onto the page. So that's how we do that. And I will show you some more designs that I use these stamps, but I'll show you what I did with these at the end there. So I'll put that aside, and then the last one I used, as I showed you before, is this placemat that I used the backing. And this one I cut out a leaf design, and then I cut the centers out for the veins. If you don't want to make your own stamps, you can just go online and download some free clip out, and you can get these. And then it's just a matter of drawing them out and making your stamps. So I did that with my Christmas tree, and I just changed it up a little bit to when I drew it out, I just changed up. I wanted this one to be a bit taller and a little bit different, the shape. Same with this one, but I pretty much left them as they were. I haven't got the bell one, but oh, it's here. I haven't cut it out yet, but I just wanted to show you what you can do. This one here, I don't know what I did with my leaf. It's floating around somewhere. It's probably died by now, but I just used this. It might be, this is it here, I think. I just went out and got some leaves, and this one is an ivy leaf, and I drew an outline and cut it out. Here's another one that I drew, and I haven't got that one out as yet. So there's just some ideas of what you can do, or what kind of stamps you can make. So now I'll show you what I did with some of these stamps to give you an idea of how to use them. And the first one, I guess I'll show you, this one here is, where's my stamp? This leaf here. So that's the impression you get. I did do another impression on the back there, so you can see. and then you can outline them as I did in ink, and you can do multicolors. I did a little bit of brown and green on the stamp, and at the back here I actually used some blue and green, so you get different colors that way. So that's that one. And then with this one here, I did two ways. This one was when I didn't draw in the veins, and this one here is when I did draw in the veins. And I just added some, I just colored it in some greens and then the berries in the red inks. I just used my distress ink, and I used peel paint, and what else did I use? For the red, I used aged mahogany, so that's those two colors for those ones. I did outline it in a bit of forest green as well. So to make the veins, it's a very simple process. Once again, I used my craft knife and I just went along and drew the lines of the veins like that, and that's all I did. And this is just a single layer of foam, it's not the double layer, so that's you can use a single layer. It works well if you put it onto a backing. So that's what I did with those ones, and that's just gives you an idea of how they turned out. I have another one here in a minute, so I'll show you that. You already saw the leopard print and the stonework, so that's those ones. And then I'll show you the Christmas tree one. This is what I did here, stamped that, and I added different colors to it, and then I outlined it, so that's why it's like that. So that's that one. What was the other one I did? Here you go. Here's the leaf one that I made, and I didn't do a very good job of outlining it. I didn't know what pen I wanted. I used the gold, but I don't think it worked out too well. And this one I just used black ink pen, and I drew it, and I dabbed some glitter on there. I have this Nouveau glitter gel, or glimmer gel, that I just dabbed on there with my finger. And this one here down the bottom, of course, is the boot, or the, what do you call these things? Not the boots, the stocking, Santa stocking here. And just added some little glitter onto that. The way to get these holes, I actually used my hole punch. I have one here that's a very small hole punch, so I just went ahead and punched out all those holes to get a design. And also I used the craft knife to cut this out here to just make a difference. I didn't have to do such a big hole. As you can see, I only needed to carve a line, but this is my first attempts experimenting. As you saw with the other one, I didn't really need to carve it out such a big gap there. As you saw with the leaf here, all you had to do is just carve into a single line with the veins. I only did that a single line. I didn't actually carve out a hole like you see with these ones. But anyway, you learn as you go along. That's what the beauty of experimenting with making your own supplies. And so now I'll show you some of the things that I did with this, because you can see that I've made some Christmas stamps and some leaf stamps, and this is all in preparation for making pages for my Christmas journal. And you get the idea. You can go along and you can find a design like a whole page and do a whole layout. Like this one here is what I did with this one, with the this is supposed to be snow, and these are just like drops of whatever sort of thing, snowflakes, different kinds. So that's what I did, and I just rolled it out. I used blue, and that's what I got, this page here. And I think that's very pretty. It looks very snowy. And then the white here, I just splattered some white paint, and then I went along and I used my little paintbrush, if I could find the little one. it's over getting wet, dry. I washed it out. So all I did was dab on some glue over here and sprinkle on some silver, and then you get these streaks. It's like snow falling. So that's my impression of that page. So as I said, you can make your stamps to a coordinated set of stamps to use, and this one, as you can see, my theme is Christmas, so I'm making all these stamps for my Christmas journal. So that's one that I did, and this one here is the other one. The background, I actually had a page already done in the blues and the greens, which is quite handy. And then with my string one, I just rubbed it in some green, and I think I used the peeled paint on this one, and I just rolled it out this way, along this way, and I turned it around and then rolled it the other way, so that gives you that cross hatch design, which I thought was quite pretty. And then I used my stamp, my foam stamp here, and I stamped that across there to give like a bit of a vine impression. And then I used this stamp here, and I actually added some texture paste. This is modeling paste. I just scraped some on, and I dipped it in some onto here. I only did 3, and then I went along with this here, and I just rubbed on the gold. So that gave me this this layout on a page. So I think that's quite pretty, and so that just gives you some ideas of what to do. And then with I'll show you what I did with the little boot, if I can find it. With this one here. Next, I'll put all this aside. The other thing you can do with the stamps is to cut them out, like I've done with this little stocking, and use them as cutouts. So that just gives you another idea. And I just put it onto a little coin envelope, and you can put a little card in there for Christmas, and make a nice alternative to giving Christmas card. You can give a little coin envelope and put a little card inside. So that's just one idea. So I'll bring all these back. So I hope I've given you some ideas of how to make some of your own stamps and have a little bit of fun along the way. So I'll just bring all these back in so you can have a look, and that's what I have to show you today. And I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you go off and make some stamps for yourself. And I want to wish everybody a happy crafty day, and we'll see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.